People love to debate about their favourite SMPs. Some like lore-focused series, whilst others just want to see YouTubers create absolutely massive redstone contraptions. However, despite our differences, I can guarantee that anyone who has ever been the fan of an SMP has witnessed the same thing. What is this thing, you ask, because you like, subscribe, comment and share? Death. Yeah, simply put, we've all witnessed the death of an SMP, whether it's a properly planned farewell, a spontaneous disappearance, or a slow gradual decline. We've all seen some of our favourite SMPs disappear into nothingness. So today, we're going to take a trip down to the graveyard of SMPs, and ask the simple question, what happened to our favourite SMPs?
Once I make my move, the Queen will take me.
Empire's SMP began in June of 2021, featuring creators like LD Shadow Lady, Smallish Beans and Pearlescent Moon. Spearheaded by Fwhip and his experience hosting SMPs in his youth, Empire's focus on the gimmick of kingdoms, where each player would have their own specific kingdom, which would in turn produce its own specific export. There were a whole load of kingdoms across the server, which helped display each creator's individual talents. Like most SMPs, Empire was pretty much vanilla, with a few cosmetic mods used to enhance the story. However, what made Empires different from Hermitcraft is the heavy emphasis of lore within the series. Whilst the Hermits have always incorporated lore into their builds, the members of Empires really took this to a whole new level, creating whole plot lines to justify their builds, really placing lore in the foreground rather than just in the background. Because of this, Empires was pretty successful. Season 1 lasted just over 6 months before Season 2 was announced with promises of bigger builds and even more lore. And boy did they deliver. Season 2 was a huge success, with some of the server's smaller creators growing to new and unexpected heights. This success was in part due to the various connections that the creators of Empires had with the Minecraft YouTube community at the time. Jimmy, for example, was part of the Life series, which was similarly growing in popularity. However, the true eclipse of Empire's success was the Hermitcraft crossover event, where members of the Hermitcraft server visited the Empire's SMP, and vice versa. Well, not only did this skyrocket the server's notoriety, but it also showed us that Hermitcraft was not the only SMP with some strong legs to stand on. So where did it all go wrong? Well, there was nothing inherently wrong with the SMP itself. Whilst the server did lack any proper redstoners, I don't really think that that had much of an impact on its success in general. In fact, I would argue that the server's problem was not the actual SMP, but rather the YouTube climate at the time. If you look at most of the creators in the Empire's SMP and their channels tend to have a lot of different series and one-off episodes, which unsurprisingly do very well. This is largely because, especially during the 100 days era of Minecraft YouTube, audiences would rather commit to a one-off video rather than a whole series. This, alongside a general sense of completion amongst the members and some burnout, led Season 2 to end in May of 2023. And whilst a lot of the server's members remain popular today, there appears to be no return in sight. Rest in peace, Empires. You were pretty great.
So I tried doing the buffalo dance a whole bunch. I was thinking we could get 2 of these guys and then probably breed them, right?
FoolCraft was honestly, for me at least, the GOAT of Minecraft modded series, especially in the late 2010s. Consisting of a cast of some of my favourite Hermitcraft members, FoolCraft was a mod pack created by Iscow85 and his team, featuring a number of popular mods like Chisel and Bits, and one of my favourites, Refined Storage. The main goal of this series, like most Hermitcraft spin-off series, was to fill that lull between Hermitcraft seasons. Because of this, in March in 2017, Iscow would upload his first episode on the server, reintroducing us to some of our favourite creators like B-Dubs, and explaining the general premise of the series. While some of the members, particularly Iscow, had some decent experience with modded Minecraft, others were relatively new to the whole thing. This really didn't matter though, because what made FoolCraft special was the fact that it allowed the Hermits to sort of just mess around and explore game mechanics in a way that the Hermitcraft server rarely embraces. However, the issue with messing around, especially in modded Minecraft, is that things can break very easily. The FoolCrafters learned this firsthand in August of 2017, where the server had to shut down due to extreme lag issues with refined storage. Because of this, the SMP had no choice but to update and launch a brand new season of FoolCraft. This wasn't exactly a bad thing though, as Season 2 introduced a new team mechanic which really encouraged the members of the server to interact more, which in turn made everyone's episodes a lot funnier. However, once again, the FoolCrafters would fall victim to another pitfall of modded Minecraft: burnout. Because mod packs typically typically feature an absolutely insane amount of mods, it's really easy to get overwhelmed with all the different possibilities, which in the case of FoolCraft Season 2 led the players to burn out. Between Seasons 2 and 3 of FoolCraft, Iskall would launch the FoolCraft 2.12 fan server, which once again didn't last all that long before a new season, Season 3, would be released. This season was kinda strange. It featured some non-hermits and a few of the core cast didn't return. It just, at least in my opinion, didn't really feel the same. At the same time, something far more significant was going on over Hermitcraft. This guy. This guy. When Green joined Hermitcraft in Season 6, the server was launched to new heights as the Hermits began to focus more and more on storytelling, plotlines, and mega build. Because of this, as well as a general decline in the series' popularity, FoolCraft just kinda died. People got busy, moved on, and in some cases quit the server entirely, leaving the SMP cold and alone, fading out of existence and into YouTube obscurity. I don't know if it's quite possible to state just how influential Mindcrack was to the establishment of Minecraft SMPs. Mindcrack was truly the OG Minecraft SMP. So how did it begin? Well, the server actually started as a single player LP by Good on October the 19th, 2010. However, by December of 2010, some of Good's friends wanted to join the world, taking Minecraft from a Let's Play to what we now call a Minecraft SMP. In the server's early days, a lot of its popularity came from online forums, with people talking about their favourite parts of the server, which just made the series more and more popular. By 2011, the server had really took off, as Good introduced contests where creators could essentially compete to join the cast of the server. As the SMP grew, so did its number of iconic players, with Vintage Beef, B-Dubs, DocM77 and Etho all joining in 2011. With these iconic creators came some pretty crazy innovation. Vintage Beef created Aber Caving, a gimmick still used to this day. Alongside this, whole game modes were created like UHC, as well as mini-games like King of the Ladder. And this kind of all led Minecraft to move from SMP to icon status. However, Mindcrack would soon make a decision that altered the course of Minecraft SMP history forever. In April of 2012, a small creator by the name of Generic B applied to join the server, but was unfortunately rejected. So what did Generic B do? Well, he made an SMP of his own, a little lesser known SMP by the name of Hermitcraft. Now, in the early days, Hermitcraft wasn't crazily popular. Sure, it had some fans, but Mindcrack was really the king of Minecraft SMPs. Because of this, Generic B would soon defect to the Mindcrack server, leaving Exumavoid to claim adminship over Hermitcraft. However, connections between Mindcrack and Hermitcraft would remain strong, with the two servers hosting a lot of crossovers. Meanwhile, Mindcrack continued to flourish, hosting incredibly successful panels at Minecraft conventions, and even influencing Mojang to create Minecraft 2.0, which was essentially a celebration of Mindcrack and its cultural significance. However, as the SMP boomed in popularity, it inevitably faced controversy. Throughout 2014, members of the server faced backlash for failing to disclose paid promotions in their videos, leading some members to begin to distance themselves from the server. Simultaneously, Hermitcraft began to become more and more popular, with the introduction of popular creators like Good Times with Scar. However, the real nail in Mindcrack's coffin came in 2015, when Good tried to trademark Mindcrack as a brand. This decision was opposed by a number of members, for a lot of very different reasons. One in particular was the restrictions that trademarking could incur, while others like Etho were worrying that the official documents could be leaked, and therefore expose his identity. After this, a lot of the server's members moved on to new projects and SMPs like Hermitcraft, as well as other solo things. However, it would be unfair to say that Mindcrack died here. The server was still active until the late 2010s, and a number of spin-off and reboot series have taken place since. However, the server really has never been the same, and these spin-offs rarely last more than a few months. Because of this, I think it's safe to say that the heart, the soul, the true spirit of Mindcrack is dead, but its significance will never be forgotten.
Double, do you take Razor 10 to be your lawfully wedded husband here on Harmony Hollow?
I do.
Please exchange the rings.
We just
This is
check them
gonna
at
be
each
a
other.
In late 2015, a YouTuber by the name of BB Paws launched the Harmony Hollow server. Now, to begin with, this was a pretty small server, featuring creators like Scott Major and Orion Sound. The server was originally meant just as a space for BB Paws to mess around with their friends. In fact, there was little expectation that it would ever grow into anything bigger. Like a lot of SMPs created during the mid-2010s, Harmony Hollow was packed with random mod packs like Mo creatures, the usual decorative mods, and whatever adds those really cool like pet things that I really want to play with, but I have no clue what mod it actually is. Anyway, Harmony Hollow also featured a ton of random plot lines. Originally the story was that everyone was divided into different towns and hated each other, but that soon developed into a chaos of prank wars. Through 2016 the server began to grow in popularity. As HBomb94 and Shovel joined the cast, more and more people began to tune into the SMP. Now, for me personally, Harmony Hollow was huge. I remember watching H1's videos in 2016 and thinking, damn, this is some high-end shit. However, looking back at it now, Harmony Hollow was kind of destined for failure from day one. The SMP came up in the era of kind of randomly strung together Minecraft YouTube series, where people would just kind of do whatever they wanted. You can sort of see that in how creators casually left and rejoined the server throughout the seasons. It was clear no one was fully committed, other than BB Paws, of course, who really deserves a lot of credit for their dedication. Anyway, because of this lack of dedication, the server just sort of began to die. Some creators got busier with more commercially successful series, whilst others just got bored of modded. Whilst the server did briefly reboot in 2020, that reboot kind of just made one sad fact all the more obvious. That being that there really isn't a space for SMPs like Harmony Hollow anymore, which, at least in my opinion, kind of sucks. Hi, it's me JJ. I have no idea where I am right now. Ignore that please. Can you just think about maybe subscribing to me, please? Thank you very much.
It's like that innuendo song where it keeps like acting like it's gonna say something and says something else. You'd be like, hey, where's the mother effer who can show me the menu and tell me what I want to eat?
Disclaimer. This section of the video does contain some talk of pretty triggering subjects such as domestic violence, so if you don't want to watch it, that's fine. Skip ahead to here. Picture this. April 24th, 2020. Some dude named Dream, right, decides, you know what, I'm going to start my own server. So he goes on Eternals or some other crappy server hosting site and launches a little known server called the Dream SMP. This dude just casually created a cultural phenomenon completely by accident, which I think is just insane. Now, I have to disclaim that I have never actually watched any episodes of the Dream SMP. Unfortunately, 2020 me wasn't cringe enough for that. However, I have spent a sad amount of time reading up on the birth and death of this godforsaken server, so just stick with me please. Okay, so in early 2020, Dream alongside George Not Found and a collection of other growing content creators create the Dream SMP. By July, the SMP's popularity had skyrocketed. Why? Well, there's a ton of reasons, which I'm sure you'll fill me in on in the comments. But a big part of her success was the involvement of scripting and improvisation within the story of the SMP. Rather than just seeing what happened, Dream SMP told real, surprisingly decent stories about its members, which people really got intrigued by. This, alongside the variety of skills held by the SMP's members, led the server to just get more and more popular, with people like Vicstar and Laserbeam briefly joining the server, bringing their massive audiences with them. I think it's also important to note that Dream SMP's success was partly fueled by the global pandemic. Everyone was playing Minecraft at the time, which left a perfect vacuum in content creation that the Dream SMP filled quickly. So if Dream SMP was such a hit, why is it no longer a thing? Well, Dream SMP was plagued by the great curse of all Minecraft servers. What is this great curse, I hear you ask? You know, it's obvious. The great curse of some Minecraft YouTubers not knowing how to be decent human beings. Jakishi was the first of these to catch this virus, getting banned from the server due to allegations of grooming and sexual misconduct. Because of this, some of the server's members began to pull away. However, the Dream SMP still remained popular. Then came this.
Hi.
Yet, people really didn't like that. From this point, the server just basically became a hub for allegations of misconduct, with fans and content creators alike claiming that they had been groomed and even abused by some members of the server. As more and more allegations surfaced, more and more creators left, taking with them their audiences. This, alongside the unfortunate death of one of Minecraft's most legendary YouTubers, Technoblade, led people to begin to realise that the Dream SMP had lost its magic. I think the content creators themselves even began to realise this, as the cast began to just shrink more and more. And in late 2024, members of the SMP would post their final videos on the server, saying goodbye to what will forever be a weird, jaded, and definitely controversial part of Minecraft history.
How many cows I've killed?
How many?
Guess.
257.
Okay, I think it's time to talk about something a little bit more light-hearted, and what better subject matter than the AfterLife SMP. I really love this de facto life series of SMPs, due in part to the fact that these series always had such stellar casts of Minecraft YouTubers. AfterLife in particular featured big names like Fwip, Shubble, Gemini Tate, and even LD Shadow Lady. Now, the basic premise of the server was pretty simple. Each player had 10 lives. At the start of each of these lives, they would randomly get assigned an origin that gives them access to some cool power or ability. Whilst this mechanic was pretty sick, it also had one major flaw. If everyone gets only 10 lives, this series was basically on a slow ticking timer, as viewers just sat there waiting for everyone to die. Now, I personally really enjoyed the series. I thought the origin system was cool, and I loved seeing some of my favourite YouTubers interact. However, others didn't exactly feel the same way, with some complaining that the deaths in the series felt overly scripted, as players didn't want to be stuck with a single origin forever. That being said, I think that was kind of the point of AfterLife. It was supposed to be a short-lived miniseries rather than a fully fledged SMP. This is pretty obvious when you look on most of the members' channels. They're all known for something bigger and more popular than the AfterLife SMP, but that doesn't really strip it of its value. However, what that did strip the server of is its longevity. It was quickly moved on to the back burner by most of the server's members, meaning people just kind of became less and less interested. Now it kind of just sits there, floating in YouTube's algorithm, waiting for some random bored dude to stumble across the series, binge it all, and then forget it forever.
Alright, so there's 500,000 blocks to place, but it actually did it in one day.
Okay, this next one is kind of mysterious and confusing, but bear with me because I think I've worked out what the hell happened to SciCraft. Okay, to understand where SciCraft is now, we need to go all the way back to the beginning. Back to Christmas Day 2014, when a small creator by the name of Ragu42 would upload a video to his channel.
I'm from Israel.
Alright, then, Yova?
Hey, hi, I'm Yova, I'm from Israel, and I like reading. Yay!
Hey, Vince, your turn.
I'm from the Netherlands. I'm just mostly annoying for the crew here, so get used to it.
Yeah.
This video is pretty inconspicuous, and honestly not what you expect from the SciCraft server. Ragu and their friends defeat the Ender Dragon and just kind of mess around. Now, if you know anything about SciCraft, you'd understand just how strange this is. SciCraft is known for its insane redstone creation. When I say insane, I mean straight up nuts. Members of the server like Ilmango and Nembomb have broken the game in every way possible, creating farms and contraptions that popular YouTubers still use to this day. With this context, you can kind of just see how odd this first video is. It's so normal, which for this server is straight up weird. Anyway, following this introduction, the server quickly got working on some crazy contraptions, abusing the most niche of Minecraft mechanics. In 2017, Ilmango would create a mining machine that would soon break the internet, garnering over 4 million views. Soon after, the server became pretty mainstream, with Hermitcraft YouTuber Mumbo Jumbo joining the server to tour the many massive creations that it hosted. So, why has the server since faded into obscurity? Well, there's a lot of possible reasons. One explanation is that the members of the server simply just ran out of ideas. It must be exhausting having to come up with so many random game-breaking contraptions. Another reason may be the lack of new content on the server. Because of the server's contraptions often relying on bugs, the server would rarely update, out of fear of breaking everyone's contraptions. However, I think the most plausible explanation is that everyone just sort of moved on. Nembomb was deservedly hired by Mojang and hasn't uploaded since. Ilmango has completely stopped uploading to focus on, well, you know, life. Others have defected to DocM77's Hive Mind, seeking a platform where their creations can be showcased to a mass audience. People move on, grow and change, leave things behind and go on to chase bigger and better things. So I guess SciCraft was sort of just left behind. We may never know, but maybe one day it will make a resurgence.
2 months ago, allegations were cast upon me about consensually chatting with a couple of adult women.
The VaultHunters SMP began in early 2020 when Iskall, as well as a number of his mod developer friends, began developing a mod pack. This mod pack was kind of like an RPG, or more like a dungeon crawler, focusing on randomly generated vaults that players would then have to move through to gain XP as well as loot. Its first iteration was released privately in December of 2020, which led to the creation of the VaultHunters SMP. At the time, this SMP only featured 6 creators, such as Iskall, H-Bomb and Rendog. The main goal of Season 1 was that the creators had to progress through the vaults in order to gather artifacts. This was received pretty well. People liked the fact that they had Twitch integration on this SMP, which basically meant that Twitch chat could directly interact with the players in-game. This also popularised the mod pack, and it's still in development today. Following this, in April of 2021, Iskall launched Season 2, introducing big players like CPK, Tubbo and even False Symmetry. This season was also very successful, and it allowed the development of the mod to run smoothly. Part of this was, again, the close interaction with the community, as Iskall frequently allowed the members of his Discord server to help shape the mod. But by June of 2022, Season 2 of the SMP had ended, and following this, the SMP kind of just spun off in a lot of random directions, with the continuation of the live VaultHunters series on Twitch, as well as series like Hermits Play VaultHunters. However, in mid-2024, Iskall faced some major controversy. Now, this seemed to have gone back quite a while, but a number of members of his community alleged that he had essentially groomed them online. Now, this did not prove well for Iskall. His views plummeted as people withdrew from the SMP, withdrew from the mod, and there was even a slight hostile takeover of the mod development. Now, this didn't just kill Iskall's channel, but it also killed the SMP. H-Bomb took himself away from VaultHunters, and Iskall was removed from the Hermitcraft server, basically removing any chance of a future Hermits Play VaultHunters series. Now, while some small iterations of the VaultHunters SMP still exist today, it will never be the same. As Iskall fades into irrelevancy and his content becomes less and less popular, so does the mod pack. People really don't want to be involved with anything tied to him anymore, and so VaultHunters SMP seems pretty dead to me.